Hi, my name is Benji, or Snoopierkid, whatever you like to call me. It's been a while, hasn't it? Uh, Good thing I never claimed to be a proper YouTuber. If I do somehow manage to get out of this weird stage in this YouTube channel and actually use it for what it's supposed to be used for, that'll be a sight to see. But anyway, I'm here to discuss what else EXE Jam and what it's supposed to be, like what the title of the video said. I don't have a script, I'm just talking because I feel more comfortable doing so than reading a script and almost sounding a little too robotic. Hopefully there's not too much background noise. I don't have like a dedicated room to record this stuff. That's why there's hardly any videos here, because it's hard to record things without any background noise or distracting noise in the background that would ruin a video. So that's why I don't post here very often. I post a lot on Twitter, Newgrounds, anywhere you would see my content, Webtoons now, because I make EXE Jam, which is the point of the video. I should probably stop rambling and start talking about that. What is it? So the main idea of the story, I'll talk about the main idea first. We have two heroes, two main characters, meeting other people in one world filled with EXEs, demons, whatever you want to call them, these monsters. Variants of Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, Luigi, like all, if you can think of an EXE, they are all stuck in this one world, whether they are mentioned or not. If you can think of one, they're probably somewhere in here roaming around causing a muck, causing some ruckus, being a menace, being a fiend. They're somewhere in here. Whether they are mentioned, whether they are seen or brought up, is all up to me and the people I work with and how we write things. EXE Jam is a silly idea, I know, but it's a silly idea that I care about very much and a lot of people seem to like. I work with Kenny Underx, Emerald, Jack Gore, Solar Daily, Goji Boy, and DementedHD, all these wonderful people. I love them very much. Collaborators, my small team, to make sure this is for a silly idea, it's the best it can be, right? I want it to be a thing a lot of people can truly enjoy. And the whole main idea is just EXE stuff. I thought, having two main characters simply trying to do one mission, which is going home, was a neat and fun idea to do, and I wanted to turn that into a comic. It didn't start out as a comic. It actually started out as like a tribute of like the resurgence of Sonic.exe as like a thing that came back on to the internet, that became, it was resurged in popularity at the time, and I wanted to celebrate that with these two posters I'll have on screen. This is what started EXE Jam. It wasn't called EXE Jam at the time. It was Sonic.exe Jam. Very long-winded name. It spawned a couple of animatics that I did for funsies, and then one day I was in the restroom sitting in the toilet and thought, why not we just turn this into a comic and make this fun, long-lasting? And so I did. I got help from a few people at the time. Emerald, a few friends that helped me revise the script at the time to make sure it was, understandable, readable, and chapter 1 began. It's been history ever since. I don't have a set schedule for putting out the comic chapters, right? It's just whenever it's a chapter gets released whenever we can, whenever I'm able to write, able to lay out, able to letter it, pencil it, ink it, all that stuff. It all comes down to appropriate time, because right now I have a part-time job, and it makes that scheduling a little differently. I'm also going to probably open up commission soon again, so that's also probably going to mess with conflict. So chapter updates may happen every so often, but they will happen. It's not that I abandoned the comic, it's just it takes time for me to do it the way I want it to. And I had a friend ask me, why don't I just do the updates in pages instead of with chapters? It's because I prefer doing it the chapter layout. I feel like it's worthwhile if people wait for chapters of a story, and they can read beginning to end and then just can't even start waiting in anticipation and whatnot. It gets them, it's something to keep them busy instead of, wondering if the chapters, or wondering if the story is left abandoned because I'm taking so long with one page to be released. So and I prefer doing it in chapters. It's all I'm trying to get down to. Long-winded answers. I just prefer doing it in chapters. I think it's more fulfilling that way. So it may take longer, yes, but I think it's worth it in the end to do it this way. And people seem to love it too. So that's always good. And yeah, it's been wild. I wanted to make this video just to talk about it and just talk everything around it. All the fan art that I've gotten, all the fan comic spin-offs that people are, doing slowly but surely to just, show love to the project and being engaged with it. And it's been lovely to see. I never thought the comic would get the attention it did. I was fully prepared to just drop it at chapter 1 and leave it at that. That's why it's the reason why it's presented the way it is, right? It's left open-ended, but also like you're never too sure if they ever did escape. That's why I wrote it that way. Right, like I was fully prepared to just drop the comic at chapter 1, but fortunately and gladly it didn't. And I'm happy. I'm more happy for it that I get to continue the story and finish it proper with what we have so far. To those who enjoy the comic, I know I don't promote it very much, and if I do promote it and it gets annoying, I'm also apologizing for that. I'm apologetic, what can I say? To those who really appreciate the comic and where it's going and where it's headed, and just want to support it that just a bit more, you can go to the Patreon and donate as little as $1 a month each month. Enjoy all the previews, all the concept art that I'm gonna eventually release, the roadmap that will also be eventually released on there for those who want to know and get a little spoiled on how the story will begin and end. The roadmap isn't anything concrete. Like I said, it's called a roadmap. It's more of a guideline of how I want the story to go in the direction I want it to. Hopefully get to those points and make the best it can be. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Also, the Patreon will eventually, down the line, I do want this to be a thing. Patreon members will have choices in how certain story aspects will go. So there's the voting system that Patreon does for polls, and I want to use that for Patreon members to dictate story elements or the story direction, like actions characters take within that isn't an out there idea. Like these will be decisions the characters will make in the story that isn't out of character, right? That's what I'm trying to say. This will never be out of character decisions to make. They will always be appropriate, and it will be a lot of fun for Patreon members to also do that. So for anyone in the Patreon, look forward to that. Hopefully whenever we write chapter 4 or any other future chapters, we get to implement that idea to its fullest and make it very fun. And that's why the roadmap and the guideline to the story is just that, right? Because the story can go in any direction. These are just bullet points. If we can get to these points right within writing it, and we have to write to get there. But it could be fun, I want this to be a fun story, to be an interesting story, to be enjoyed by most people. I don't have wild expectations, right? I know the story isn't going to jive with people. This won't jam with everyone, right? And that's okay. I'm confident. I'm confident with my own abilities. I fully accept what the story is and what it's doing for me and others. So like I said, I don't have any wild expectations for it. But yeah, we have the Patreon. The lowest you can donate is $1 a month, or the highest you can donate is $10 a month. You get this small chibi artwork that represents you, that gets that I use to shout out your name in the end of the comic book, or at the end of each comic chapter. These fine folk here, they've all gotten their character renders that represents them, that help me with getting the comic out every so often, or make me dedicate more time to it, or make me spend just a little bit more money to get help if I so need it. I have plans, right? The plans I want is commissioning artists to make variant covers of the comic, or have guest artists if that's even possible. Like having guest artists help me illustrate the comic, and while I simply write would be like a dream, because one, I get to collaborate with more creators, and two, that's just it gives me an opportunity to support more artists that way. Or I want to do a lot of bigger things with the comic, and having a Patreon there will help a lot. So if you do enjoy the comic or enjoy the idea, I know this is the worst pitch in the world, but there is stuff here, right? I'm not pulling your leg. I'm not, trying to pull the rug under your, like, I'm not trying to pull the rug under you, pull the wool over your head to think there's nothing here. But yeah, there's the Patreon. I do have a Ko-fi account. I don't use it very much. It's more of like a tip jar for me for streams, but that also exists for those who are wondering if like this account belongs to me. It does. Also, I should probably address the bird in the room. Yes, that is Kiwi. No, I cannot stop him from squawking. This is just what I have to. This is what you're gonna have to hear. So enjoy the squawking. If you're wondering why I don't make videos very often, it's because I don't have like a dedicated room to be in to record videos, to not have like noises in the background mitigated. So it makes things like this a little impossible sometimes, because sometimes I just want quiet, and I don't get that very often, especially living in a big house full of family. It's why you don't see videos like I used to upload here. It just makes that task a little annoying and impossible. Hopefully that changes down the line whenever I eventually get to move out and do all this and do what I want to do. But yeah, hopefully I got to talk about everything I wanted to in this video, in this audio. If I did miss anything, I'll probably put it somewhere at the end, probably somewhere in the middle of the video. It's been a while since I made a video, just me talking like this. Hopefully there's more videos to come. Probably, I know I promised speed paints. I probably should have made a promise I couldn't keep. But yeah, if I post a video, you'll see the video here. So subscribe if you want, like the video, comment, whatever. It's so weird saying that, even though I rarely upload. If you love EXE Jam, if you love the art that I make, follow me on Newgrounds, Twitter, all that fun stuff, all the links, all the mentions I've made down in the description. It's weird doing a video like this now, and I'm happy. I'm just happy. Hopefully you guys are too. Stay safe.